Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome into the Daily Insider, the Friday edition here on the Vegas Insider YouTube channel. I'm Thom Cunningham. Today we're going to be going over, pretty much the routine stuff today with NBA, MLB, hockey as well. If we have time, we'll see if we can get to some soccer. There's some EPL dropping today, this weekend, MLS as well. But we want to focus on the main three sports first, and then we'll see what we have time for moving forward. Before we begin, though, I want to remind you to join in on our contest for free picks from any of our handicappers of your choice for an entire week. And how do you do that? Well, you have to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave your best bet in the comment box for today's games. It could be anything. It could be, over-under. It could be a spread. It could be a player prop bet. It could be first inning total, third inning total, first set. In tennis, really any sport, just make sure it's not a heavy favorite. Minus 1,000, picks probably aren't going to get chosen. But if your bet hits, you could be in the drawing for free picks for the week. So just leave your best bet. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also leave your Vegas Insider ID, which is very important. That way we can actually, contact you if you do win. And if you don't have a Vegas Insider ID, just go to our any of our pages on the website. Top right corner, big yellow box says register, and fill in all your information there. So that's how you do it. So let's get right to it. Try to keep this short and sweet as best as we can. Let's start with the NBA. Some good action last night in the NBA, but again, we want to keep this short and sweet. So we're going to just mainly focus on tonight's games. Let's start with the first game on tap. You have the New Orleans Pelicans. They are on the road against the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, the Sixers, they have won 6 straight games in a row. You don't want to take their money line, though. I think they're like minus 400. Far too expensive. The Pelicans to cover is actually a bit of an intrigue because they are given a substantial spread, in my opinion. I believe it's 9 right now, opened at 8.5. I think it's up to 9. Right now, and New Orleans, they have actually covered the spread in 3 of 4 games against Philly, and they have failed to see Philadelphia cover the spread against them. So in the last 4 games between these two teams, 3 times the Pelicans have covered, and 1 time it was a push. So Philadelphia has failed to cover in 4 straight against the Pelicans. Also keep in mind that the Pelicans, they've covered the spread in 4 straight games when playing on the road, and they are the road team tonight. But there is some value in the player prop department. I'm looking at Joel Embiid for over 10.5 rebounds. He has seen 11 or more in 3 straight home games when facing the Pelicans. His odds to get over 10.5 rebounds is plus 100. So there's some plus value there for Embiid. Also, Seth Curry, the other Curry brother, he has made 3 or more three-pointers in 5 of his last 6 games. You can get Seth Curry for over 2.5 three-pointers in tonight's game for plus 125. So there is a good prop bet there surrounding the Curry brother, the good one, right? Just kidding. Let's move on. We have more NBA. We got a lot of NBA action tonight. We have the Boston Celtics. They are on the road. Why won't this stay still? There we go. They are on the road against the Chicago Bulls, and the Bulls, they've actually lost 12 of 15 games against the Celtics. But they have also failed to cover the spread in 4 straight games when facing a team with a winning record, and Boston has that. They are 35-31 overall. Let's see. Chicago won the last meeting between these two teams, but Boston won 3 of the last 4. They've also covered the spread in 3 of the last 4 meetings between these two teams, and the point total has gone under in 3 straight games played between Boston and Chicago. So, look, I don't have a ton of conviction in really either team, Boston on the road, but Chicago, too, they do struggle against winning teams this year. There was a point this season, earlier in the season, where Chicago was very good road underdog, but that was also against teams that they should have beaten. They tend not to cover against teams, as the trend tells you, they tend not to cover against teams with winning records. They're playing a very, very hungry Boston team. A lot of experts are picking them as a top play-in team in the NBA playoffs this year. I don't know. Boston, I've just seen so much inconsistency out of them this year. I think I would probably stay away from the spread. Although all signs do point towards Boston winning and covering this game, I like maybe the point total going under. It's gone under in 3 straight games, but Boston has gone over the point total in 6. So you have crossing trends in the point total market. Just seems like a game you might want to stay away from. And I'm not really seeing any worthy player props. So for me, Boston, Chicago might be a stay away, but if you fancy the Celtics, I won't argue with you there. Let's move on. There's an intriguing underdog here. We're going to skip down in the 8:10 p.m. games. Minnesota, Miami, I think is an intriguing underdog. Look, Miami is the better team. They're home. They should win, but they have failed to cover the spread in 6 straight games after losing at home the game prior. Miami is coming off of a home loss. Also, keep in mind that Minnesota, they've won 5 straight games against Miami. So they have their number. Again, though, with trends, you have to be careful because when you see a trend that says Minnesota has beaten Miami in 5 straight games, one person might see that and go, well, they're going to win 6. Another person might see that same trend and say, well, they're due to lose. Miami's due to win and break that trend. So just be careful with that. But I think the spread is a bit intriguing considering that Minnesota has won 5 straight games against the Heat, and Miami, they have failed to cover the spread in 6 straight games after a home loss. So I think there is some value to play with the Timberwolves. There's also some player prop bets surrounding Minnesota that you might want to consider for plus value. You have D'Angelo Russell. He has seen 8 or more assists in 4 straight games when Minnesota is the underdog, and he has odds to get over 7.5 assists at plus 110. A little bit better value, though, with Anthony Edwards. He has seen 6 or more rebounds in 5 of his last 6 games overall. He has odds to get over 5.5 rebounds at plus 125. So I might want to look into some of the player prop bets for that game. But again, I think there's a lot of intrigue around Minnesota covering the spread. We'll see what happens, though. Moving on, let's go to some more 8 o'clock games, kind of the lower key games. You have Orlando, the Magic. They're going to be taking on the Charlotte Hornets at home. Well, Charlotte is at home, not Orlando. Looking at some trends here, the Magic, they've covered the spread in 5 of 6 games against Charlotte. Orlando has also won the first half in 6 straight games against the Hornets, so there is some plus value surrounding Orlando, not necessarily winning this game outright, but they do see a trend that covers the spread. But they do have plus value to win the first half at plus 180, which they have done so in 6 straight games against Charlotte. But you have to wonder how many of those games Orlando had Nikola Vucevic, so just keep that in mind as well. The favorite has won 17 of 18 games played between these two teams, so again, I don't see Orlando winning this game, but they are a very good team covering the spread on the road for some reason. They're better on the road. I know Kevin has touched on this in the past. The Magic are better on the road than they are at home. But I don't see Orlando winning this game. I wouldn't take the plus 240 money line by any means. But the plus 7.5 is a bit intriguing. But again, the value is Orlando first half plus 180. They've won the first half in 6 straight against the Charlotte Hornets. Let's move on now to another kind of low-key 8 o'clock game. It's the Houston Rockets. They're taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. You definitely want to check lineups for this game. Not sure if Milwaukee will send a full-fledged army out against Houston in this one. Houston, they've lost 17 of 19 road games. There's no real reason to try them here. Unless you have money you got house money, feel free. But the Rockets, they have covered the spread in 8 of 10 road games when facing a team with a winning record. The spread's insanely high. I'm looking at it right now in DraftKings. You're looking at a plus 16.5 for Houston. If you want to try those odds, feel free. Minus 108 is somewhat cheap, but that plus 950, if you have some house money, maybe try it. If Milwaukee's not starting a full lineup tonight, check the lineups if you feel like betting this game. Otherwise, I would probably just ignore. Let's move on now. 8:40. Here's another game you might want to check the lineups for. That is Cleveland and Dallas. Dallas coming off a big win. You don't really know if they're going to play Luka Doncic. I would assume they would. We'll see what happens. The Cavaliers, they've lost 8 straight games. They've lost the first half in 7 straight games. Dallas, they've covered the spread in 7 of 8 games when favored against Cleveland. I really don't see any reason to really back Cleveland tonight, again, unless Dallas is benching starters for all these NBA games. Check the lineups. I don't want to sound like a broken record today, so I'll just say it once. Write it down if you need to, but check the lineups as we inch closer to the playoffs. Jarrett Allen, good player prop bet here. He has seen 11 or more rebounds in 4 or 5 games. He has odds to go over 10.5 rebounds at plus 125. The point total has also gone over in 3 straight games played between these two teams, so feel free to take the point total going over. We have a handful of 10 o'clock games. We'll get to those in a minute. Next up is Denver versus Utah. Let's see here. Denver, Utah, rather. They have won 29 of 31 home games. They are minus 180, so it's not too expensive to try Utah at home. But again, you gotta check these lineups. We don't know who the heck any of these teams are starting, especially teams that are pretty much in the playoffs. Let's see what the head-to-head trends look like for this game. Denver has covered the spread in 4 of 5 games when facing Utah. They've also won 4 of 5 games when facing Utah. I think there's some intrigue in terms of Denver being the underdog. They clearly have the value as the road underdog. Maybe they won't win straight up, even though they've done so in 4 or 5 meetings against Utah. But they seem likely that they should cover the spread. But these trends are hard to argue with. You see that the home team has covered the spread in 15 of 21 games played between these two teams. You see Utah's won 29 of 31 home games. It's really tough to take Denver, but if you have the courage, I think the value is worth taking, just based off recent head-to-head history between these two teams. Any player prop bets that stand out? No, not really. You got Michael Porter Jr. He scored 23 or more points in 6 of 8 games, but over 21.5 points is minus 113, so it's a bit more expensive. You're not getting plus value, but if you do like Michael Porter Jr. to have a good game tonight, over 21.5 points is doable for him, and minus 113 is somewhat cheap, but it's not plus value. Let's move on. We've got 3 10 o'clock games tonight. So get your coffee ready if you're on the East Coast. We have a really good one, the Knicks and the Suns. Going to go head-to-head here. New York, they've covered the spread in 15 of 17 games this year. That is remarkable. And they are given a plus 6.5 point spread against Phoenix. I think why not take that? I mean, New York should have earned your conviction at this point. 15 of 17 is not really an accident, if you ask me. Phoenix, however, they have won 12 of 13 home games. So if you're feeling really froggy and you want to take a leap, New York to cover and Phoenix to win. Small window there, but it is doable. I think that is very doable for Phoenix to win by no more than 5. And you'd probably see some good value, a good return there. So consider that. These two teams, when they meet together, Phoenix typically covers the spread. However, they've covered the spread in 5 straight. They've won 5 straight against the Knicks. When I say they covered the spread in 5 straight, that's 5 straight against the Knicks, not overall. And the point total, there's no conviction there. Let's see if there's any player props that we like. Julius Randle, I'll, again, go all in with Julius Randle's player prop betting. He has scored 28 points or more in 4 or 5 road games. He's given plus value to score over 25.5 points. It wouldn't shock me if he even touched 30 in this one. So let's see. Reggie Bullock has scored 13 points or more in 8 of 9 games. He has odds to go over 12.5 points at plus 100. So maybe look at Reggie Bullock. Maybe look at... I like Julius Randle every night as a prop bet. He usually sees plus value, which he does tonight, to touch 26. He can touch 26 on any given night. There was a little bit of momentum there for, I think it was like 7 or 8 games where Randle was scoring 31 or more. So anytime you can get plus value for Julius Randle to score over 25 points, I think you take it in a heartbeat. But in terms of the game, the winning team, I think there's a lot to like about Phoenix winning and New York covering, so I'll let you be the judge on that one, but I really like Julius Randle's prop bets for that game. San Antonio, Sacramento, not really a jaw-dropping game. San Antonio's trying to get back on track. They've lost 5 straight games, and the Kings, they've covered 7 of their last 9 games when facing the Spurs. We talk about this all year with the Kings. They are a when it rains it pours team, and they are playing well, so now would be the time to ride with the Kings. I'm not sure they're going to win the game, though, quite frankly. San Antonio has won 2 of the last 3 games played between these two teams. However, in the last 5 meetings between the Spurs and the Kings, neither team has won back-to-back games, and San Antonio won the last meeting. So that should tell you Sacramento would win this game. The point total has gone over in 3 of 4 meetings between the two teams. Maybe look in that regard as well. But I think the Kings to cover at home is okay, but I don't think they're going to win this game. I really think the Spurs, after dropping 5 in a row, this seems to be a game that they get themselves back on track. But again, you got to check the lineups. We don't know who's starting for San Antonio. I don't really like any player prop bets for that reason either, so I think we move on from there. Spurs should win, but the Kings to cover. I'm not going to argue if you like that as well. Let's go to the final game tonight, the Lakers and the Trailblazers. Portland is playing at home, and I think they do pretty well at home against the Lakers. No, they do well as favorites against the Lakers. Portland has won 16 of 17 games when favored against the Los Angeles Lakers. However, the Lakers have covered the spread in 7 of 8 games when playing in the Mata Center, which is where the game will be played tonight. So it's a tricky one here. You got a trend that says Portland should win, but you have a trend that says the Lakers should cover. And quite frankly, it's a pretty big spread. Without Anthony Davis or LeBron James, that plus 8.5 for the Lakers is a bit high. This is a team that can compete without their 2 stars. I mean, they're not winning games without them, but they can compete. They've proven in recent weeks that they can win without Davis and LeBron. So, I don't know. I think there's a lot to like about the Lakers tonight. They've won 4 or 5 meetings against Portland. So, yeah, let's see if there's any player prop bets. Yeah, again, the lineup, not knowing the lineup, that's a big one. So, yeah, I think the Lakers to cover is fine. I'm not saying they're going to win the game. I mean, Portland's won 16 of 17 as the favorite against Los Angeles, so it's tough to argue that. But yeah, if you fancy Los Angeles, feel free to take the spread. I'm probably not going to touch this game though. That's just me. So, all right, that was it for the NBA. Let's move on to let's go to baseball. I think the early game is like 2 o'clock. Yeah, so we got some time. We don't have to rush through. Well, we want to get through this short and sweet, but we don't have to rush through any 1 o'clock games. So let's see. We have NL Central action at 2:20. That's Pittsburgh and Chicago. Pittsburgh is the obvious underdog here. They've kind of skidded as of lately. Let's look at some trends. The Cubs, they have won 10 straight games after going into extra innings and winning the game prior. They've also seen the run total go over in 7 of their last 8 games. So there's some Cub trends to maybe look at, but then you look at the Pirate trends. The Pirates, they've won 2 straight games against Chicago. They've covered the run line in 3 of 4 games against Chicago. And even the run total is a bit misleading, as the run total has failed to go over in 4 of 5 meetings between the two teams. So there's a lot of crossing trends for this 2 o'clock game. Don't feel like you have to run out to the bookie to make your bet for this one, because quite frankly, there's not a lot to like in terms of the trends. The Cubs have lost the first inning in 3 straight divisional games when playing during the daytime. So if you're feeling froggy, there is a plus 350 value bet for the Pirates to win the first inning. And you look who's on the mound. You've got Zach Davies and Trevor Cahill. Very possible. Plus 350. Might want to look into that regard. Otherwise, I think this might be a game you stay away from. Again, you've got a trend that tells you the Cubs have gone over in 7 of 8, but you also have a trend that tells you the run total has failed to go over in 4 of the last 5 meetings between the Pirates and the Cubs. And you have something very similar to the winning trend. So I don't know. I think maybe you take the the Pirates in the first inning plus 350, or just go ahead and save your money for other games tonight. Looking at other games tonight, I guess we got Milwaukee and Miami next on the docket. We got Brent Sutter for the Brewers taking the mound against Trevor Rogers for the Marlins. The Marlins have lost 7 straight home games when facing a team from the NL Central. Milwaukee is the underdog tonight, so there is plus value to bet on that trend. You could probably even hedge it if you really wanted to. Miami to win the first inning is plus value at plus 295. They've won the first inning in 3 straight games. Looking at some head-to-head trends, the run total has gone over in 3 straight games played between both teams, including 4 of the last 5. Might want to look into the run total going over. Miami, they have covered the run line in 4 straight games when facing the Brewers, but the Brewers have won 3 of the last 5 meetings played between both teams. Also note, the Brewers, they have lost 5 straight games. They're too good of a team, in my opinion, to really drop 6. So if you want to bank on them breaking a trend, remember, if a team is lost 6 straight games, one could look at that and say they're due to win. I think you might want to look in that regard with the Brewers today, plus value as a road underdog against the Marlins. Moving on, we have Arizona and the Mets. I think the Mets have seen the underdog win 7 of 9 games. It might even be 8 of 9, if I'm not mistaken. But Arizona, they have lost 7 straight games against the Mets after losing on the road the game prior. So, you look at who's on the mound. You've got David Peterson, Zach Gallen. That's a heck of a matchup, actually. David Peterson's not too shabby. The lefty on the mound for the Mets. The Mets, they've won 4 straight games against Arizona. They've covered the run line in 3 of 4 games against Arizona, and the run total has failed to go over in 4 of the last 5 games played between both teams. But the run total is a bit tricky because Arizona has gone over the run line in 17 games, this season, which is 6th best in all of Major League Baseball. I think the Mets are fine here. Like I said, they've covered the run line in 3 of 4 against Arizona. They're at home. They got a serviceable rookie or young left arm on that mound today. Well, actually, I don't know how young he is, but he's pitching well, and he's lefty. I think there's a lot to like about the Mets today. They've won 4 in a row against Arizona. Feel free to look at them. Again, minus 135, that's pretty cheap for the most part for a home favorite, and they should win that game. So we'll see what happens, but I think the Mets are fine. I won't argue if you want to take them. Atlanta, at home, they got Charlie Morton on the mound, taking on Zach Eflin against the Phillies. Looking at some trends here, Philadelphia, they have lost 10 straight road games after winning on the road. Actually, after just winning any game prior. Didn't have to be on the road. But we've talked about this a lot this year. I know Kevin has brought this up numerous times. The Phillies are not good back-to-back teams. They don't win back-to-back often. If they win a game, they usually lose the next one. And so just be careful with Philly. They're coming off a win. They've lost 10 in a row on the road after winning the game prior. Actually, I do feel like if Philly takes a lead in this game early, live bet Atlanta. I think they're a good live betting team. It's ironic because the NFL team in Atlanta is great to live bet against when they take a lead. So I think today is a good opportunity to live bet their baseball team if they are down. So look into that regard because Philadelphia, they have led after 3 innings in 7 straight games when playing on a Friday. But I don't think they're going to win. So if that trend holds true, if both of the trends hold true, it would see Philadelphia take an early lead only for Atlanta to come back. So just monitor that game if you're able to and you want to bet the Phillies and the Braves tonight. Philadelphia, they've covered the run line in 4 of the last 5 games against Atlanta, but Atlanta has won 2 of the last 3 games against Philly. So again, Philly, they tend to cover, keep the game close, but they have an issue closing games out against Atlanta. So if they take an early lead, boom, take Atlanta for plus value. I think that's the best bet. Or you can take the run total going over, which has done so in 3 straight games played between Philadelphia and Atlanta. And those bats in that ballpark, watch out. There should be some run support in that one. All right, moving on. Colorado and St. Louis. I love St. Louis. I think the fact that they're not really playing at their highest level right now is more of an indication of them going further in the postseason. I think with St. Louis and Nolan Arenado arriving, they're not fully there yet in terms of playing together. I would expect this team around maybe July to really flex their muscles. And again, I know, look, if Arenado's not hitting, he's making plays on defense. He's probably the best defensive third baseman in baseball, if not one of them. So, I mean, there's a lot to like about the Cardinals. I'm very, very high on the Cardinals. I like their futures odds. I think they're worth testing. People just tend to forget about them because they're the St. Louis Cardinals. They're almost like the San Antonio Spurs of baseball, a team that's always floating around, but they just don't get the love for some reason from the public or the betting public. Anyway, the Rockies, they've lost 7 straight road games after winning the game prior. So you know how often they struggle on the road this year. I wouldn't put too much into them winning this game. I know one of our writers, which you can find on our website, vegasinsider.com, Kevin Davis, good old KD, he picked the Rockies to win his money line pick, plus 185 today. He likes Austin Gomber, the guy on the mound, but look, Jack Flaherty's 5-0. He's got a good ERA. It's a good team at home. Not sure I would want to test those odds, but if you like the Rockies, they've won 2 of the last 3 meetings against St. Louis, and they've won 2 straight games. So small sample size, but there is a trend that tells you Colorado is playing with a little bit of momentum and they're cozy against this team that they're facing. But again, I like St. Louis. I have too much conviction in them as a team. But minus 215, I believe it is, far too expensive. I think if you like Colorado, fine, take them. But I'm not going to take them, and I'm going to stay away from this game simply for the fact that the Cardinals at minus 215, minus 210, far too expensive. San Diego and San Francisco. San Francisco dropped 2 games to Colorado. Those were the 2 wins Colorado had. They were both against San Francisco. You got Blake Snell on the mound for the San Diego Padres. I'm not sure if he's still looking for his first win. I know he went 4 or 5 starts with an 0-0 record because he just can't seem to close good games out. So we'll see what happens tonight. The Padres, they've won 9 of 10 games when playing on a Friday night. They have a trend there that backs them. They've won 2 of the last 3 games against San Francisco. However, San Francisco has covered the run line as an underdog in 3 of the last 4 games when facing San Diego. So if you like San Francisco in any way, shape, or form, go to the run line. Let me just see what the value is, though, because usually plus 1.5 is pretty expensive. This isn't too expensive. San Francisco plus 1.5, minus 143. I don't know. I think there is a case to be made for that. San Francisco coming off of 2 losses. I'm not expecting them to crush San Diego by any means, but Blake Snell, I think his ERA is somewhere around 4 right now this year, so he is hittable. San Francisco is at home, and they are playing a team in which they've covered the run line in 3 of 4. So maybe looking to San Francisco a little bit. Boston, Baltimore. Hashtag dirty water. I never understood that with Boston. Maybe someone from Boston could explain that one day, but not right now. We don't have time to go over that. The Orioles, they have lost 7 straight home games against the American League after winning on the road the game prior. I also think Boston is just the better team in general, so if you're going to pick between the 2 winning, probably look towards the Red Sox doing so. The Red Sox have also led after 3 innings in 4 straight games, so they're hopping on teams early. Boston has won 3 straight games against Baltimore. They've also covered the minus 1.5 run line in 3 straight games against Baltimore. Okay, so before I keep going, there's a few things here I like. Boston to cover, minus 1.5 seems reasonable considering they've done so in 3 straight games. And that's really where you're going to see the plus value if you're betting on Boston tonight. Right now, you can get Boston minus 1.5 at plus 106. And it's not bad considering they've beaten Baltimore in 3 straight games. They've led after 3 innings in 4 straight games, and Baltimore has lost 7 straight at home against the American League after a road win. The run total, I think, is considerable here to go over. The run total has gone over in 4 straight games played between Boston and Baltimore. Keep in mind, all of those run totals have been at 9 or higher. So it's not like they're covering a 6.5, a 7.5 run total, and they're going over. They're going over high run totals at 9 and 9.5. So feel free to look in that market. All right, let's keep going. We got Minnesota and Detroit. Matt Shoemaker on the mound. There you go. There's a name I haven't heard in a while. Let's see what we got here. The Tigers, they've lost 9 straight games when playing on a Friday. Minnesota has won 4 of the last 5 against Detroit. Detroit, though, has covered the run line in 4 of 5 meetings against Minnesota at plus 1.5. Again, though, for plus 1.5, you are looking at minus value. So sometimes you have to weigh, is it worth taking the plus 1.5 at minus value? Detroit is home, so there is that. I'm not sold that the pitching matchup is favoring Minnesota. Of the 2, it should favor Minnesota. But if anyone were to walk up to me right now and say Minnesota should win this game based on the fact that Matt Shoemaker is pitching, I'm not buying that. So the mound matchup is a bit of a toss-up. And the value is somewhat inexpensive, minus 132 for Detroit plus 1.5. I will never bet on Detroit this year in baseball, but if you don't like Minnesota or you like Detroit for some reason, Detroit has covered the run line in 4 or 5 against Minnesota, and they have a somewhat cheap minus value to take at plus 1.5. So if you want to, go there, but I'm not touching Minnesota for minus value in this game, and I will never touch Detroit this year, as of right now. I don't want to say never. Never say never, but as of right now, we're not touching Detroit. Moving on, we got the White Sox and the Royals. Let's see. We got Carlos Rodon. He's had a great year. His odds have skyrocketed in the Cy Young race this year, but it's still very early. The White Sox, they've won 7 straight games when playing in Kansas City. White Sox have won 4 or 5 games against Kansas City. The run total has gone under in 4 straight games played between both teams. So look in terms of the White Sox not only winning this game, but the run total possibly going under as well. Going to try to cruise through these last ones as quick as we can. We have Tampa Bay taking on Oakland. Rich Hill versus Sean Manaea. I do believe this is our VI featured MLB preview game of the night. Kevin Rogers wrote it up, so definitely want to check that out if you can. Tampa Bay, Oakland, Rich Hill versus Manaea. This is two good arms on the mound for this one. All right, here we go. Tampa Bay, they have won 6 straight games when playing as the road underdog, so plus value right off the bat if you like Tampa Bay on the road, plus 120. Boom, there you go. Let's see how the head-to-head matchups fare between these two teams. Tampa Bay has covered the run line in 3 of 5. They've also won 3 of 5 against Oakland. The run total has gone under in 4 straight games played between both teams. I like Hill. I like Manaea. So I like that run total possibly going under. What's the heck's the OU for this one? Where is it? Where can I find it? Oh, 7.5. Okay. It's a bit low, but you know what? I like Rich Hill. I like Sean Manaea. The run total has gone under in 4 straight between these two teams. Feel free to look into that a little bit. But again, Tampa Bay, was it 6 or 7 they've won in a row as a road underdog? They've won 6 in a row as a road underdog. So we'll see what happens. Most of those had to have come against the Angels. For the most part, Tampa Bay was an underdog in I think they were underdogs more times than not in their recent series against the Angels, and I believe they won all those games. They may have swept them. So yeah, maybe bank on Tampa Bay to keep it rolling. Home underdogs, road underdogs, good value there. The Natties in some interleague action, not the Natty Lights, but the Washington Nationals. They are taking on the Bronx Bombers. In this game, we got Patrick Corbin taking on Talion. Love Jameson Talion, the things he's had to go through in his career. Is a real inspiration. So here we go. Yankees, they have won 8 straight home games when facing the National League after losing at home the game prior, but they're close to minus 200. Yeah, minus 195. They're minus 180 here on DraftKings, so I'm not too sure I would touch New York just because of the expensive price tag that comes with them. We have talked about how surprising it is that New York, the Yankees, are the best under team in baseball this season. That is mind-boggling considering, probably 15-year-olds could hit home runs in that ballpark. Also considering that lineup is stacked. So, and the AL East has just great bats. Even Baltimore can hit. Toronto can hit. Boston, they're going to have to hit to make the playoffs. And Tampa Bay, they can hit. So it's kind of stunning to see that New York is the best team in baseball to go under the run total. The run total has gone under in 4 or 5 meetings between the Yankees and the Nationals. Now, the two people on the mound for this game is a bit concerning. I do expect Talion to give up some runs. I expect Corbin to give up some runs too in that ballpark. But stats are stats, and all the stats are saying it should go under. So I'm now seeing it's 8.5. Washington and New York run total, so maybe go under. It's definitely considerable. Cincinnati, Cleveland. Got another interleague game here. We got Wade Miley taking on Dan Plesac. What is he, his cousin or his son? Or Zach Plesac, though. He is on the mound for this one. A lot of people like Zach Plesac. He had a good year last year, but a bit of a struggle this year with some of the Cleveland arms. McKenzie comes to mind as well. He's not pitching tonight, though. It is Plesac. The favorite has won 9 straight games played between Cincinnati and Cleveland. Cleveland is the home favorite tonight. So I think personally they have the better pitcher on the mound between Plesac and Miley. That's just me. So maybe if you're leaning towards the team, maybe lean towards Cleveland. But again, if you don't want to take Cleveland because of minus value, they're a bit expensive. Playing a team that can very easily beat them. Cincinnati could, if Cincinnati was favored tonight, I wouldn't argue it. They could win this game. But Votto is out, so just keep that in mind too. One of their better bats is done. The run total has gone over in 3 or 4 games between these two teams. So if you fancy the run total going over, maybe look into that regard. It's set at 8. It's a bit high depending on what type of Zach Plesac you get tonight. Even Wade Miley for that matter. He's kind of hit or miss. These two pitchers are a bit unpredictable. Plesac had a great year last year. This year he's kind of up and down. Miley, his whole career has been up and down. So he's had games where he's looked like an ace. He's had games where he's been pulled in the first, second inning. So I think the pitching is a bit unpredictable here. But the fact that the run total has gone over in 3 of 4 and you could get a bad pitcher from either of these two starters, I think is worth trying. So maybe go with the run total going over before picking a winner between this Cleveland-Cincinnati game. And then finally, we have a battle of Los Angeles, bragging rights for El Trafico, as it's known in MLS. We have the Dodgers and the Angels. And the Anaheim Angels are playing anything but like Angels right now. How many games have they lost in a row? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So they got swept by Tampa Bay. They lost all 4 games to Tampa Bay, and I wonder how many times. I believe that Los Angeles was at least a favorite in 3 of those games. It may have been all 4 of those games. But the Dodgers aren't been doing much better. The Dodgers have lost an astounding 6 of 7 games, and this is the best team in baseball. This is a team that had an insane win total line entering 2021 at 108.5, 107.5. I mean, look, they're 17 and 15. They're 2 games away from being 500. They were like 42 and 19 last year, and they're 17 and 15 right now. It's the 12th best record in baseball. I didn't argue. If you wanted to take the Dodgers over 107.5 wins this year, I'm not going to argue that. I still won't argue it at a 17 and 15 record. I just didn't want to take it, and it's starting to pay off a little bit, I think. But we got a whole season to go. Holy moly. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the Dodgers have lost 13 of 17 games. That's crazy. Who do you take here? Both teams are playing like trash right now. I don't even know where you go here. The Dodgers, they've won 5 in a row against the Angels. I don't even know if that matters at this point. The run total has gone over in 4 or 5 meetings. Maybe you look in that market. Looking at the run line set at 8.5, you got Julio Urias and Griffin Canning on the mound. Look, I would love to sit here and tell you that the Dodgers are going to win this game, but when you lose 13 of 17 games, I can't vouch for that. They are the better team, though. You would expect them to turn around at some point. But for minus 170, a team that's lost 13 of 17 games, I'm not taking that. So I think the best thing here to do is to let the LA baseball clubs marinate a little bit longer before you start spending your money on them willy-nilly. All right, let's move to hockey. I'm not sure we're going to get to soccer. That's unfortunate, but it's whatever. It happens. Hockey. Come on, stay still. This mouse, I swear. Okay, so we got only a handful of games tonight. We've been knocking these prop bets for goal scoring out of the park, or the arena, rather. And so we'll try to kind of lean in that territory a little bit, keep it within the player prop betting, but I'll see what I can find in terms of goal totals, maybe winners as well. The underdog has won the first period in 4 or 5 Flyer games. So if you fancy Philadelphia at all, get them to win the first period for plus value there. Goal scoring, Alex Ovechkin, he has scored a goal in 6 straight games against the Flyers, but doesn't see great value. Travis Konecny, he has great value to score a goal at plus 270. He has done so in 4 of 8 games when playing in Washington, D.C. So if you like him, maybe go with him for plus 270. Otherwise, not really feeling too many player prop bets for this one. The Capitals, they have won 9 straight games as a favorite after winning on the road the game prior. So you have some crossing trends in which tells you the Caps should win, but the Flyers might hang around. I think this is a game you might want to possibly stay away from. Washington, they've covered the puck line in 5 straight games against Philly. So there is plus value for the Capitals to win by a goal and a half at plus 117. Otherwise, I think this is a game that you might want to stay clear of. We have the Dallas Stars and the Tampa Bay Lightning, as you can see right here, coming up tonight. Let's see. Lightning, they have won 7 of 8 games when facing the Stars. Head-to-head matchups, they have won 4 of the last 5. So Tampa Bay really has had Dallas's number lately. Dallas, they've been losing a lot. They've now dropped 5 straight games. They're starting to plummet a little bit. Look, if there's any team in hockey right now playing with desperation, it's the Dallas Stars. They're running out of time right now. There's only, like a week left. So, going up against Tampa is tough. Tough for them to win. There's no real trends for the goal totals to go off of. So, in terms of a winner, I think I'd probably stay away from this one. I like the fact that Dallas has lost so many games in a row, and they're playing desperate. They might come out and really, really try to play hard to win. But at the same time, they're playing arguably one of the better teams in hockey, if not the best team in hockey, in Amalie Arena. So that's going to be tough for Dallas. Some player prop bets, though. Tyler Seguin, he has scored a goal in 2 straight games, has odds to do so at plus 210. And Andre Palat, he has scored a goal in 3 of his last 4 games when playing at home, and he has odds to score a goal at plus 225. Not a game I don't think a lot of people will be watching between Detroit and Columbus here, the Detroit Red Wings and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Columbus, they have lost 7 straight home games, oof, and they're favorites. So if you like Detroit here, you can grab them for plus 118 plus value. Cam Atkinson, he has scored a goal in 4 of 8 games when playing at home as a favorite. He has odds to score a goal at plus 210, but I like Jack Rolosev. He has scored a goal in 2 of his last 4 games when facing Detroit and has odds to do so at plus 290. Only a couple more hockey games to get through. We've got the Ducks and the Wild at 8 p.m. I don't see any way Minnesota loses this game. They are a tough beast to beat at home. The Ducks, they have lost 6 straight games after winning in a shootout the game prior. Anaheim is coming off of a shootout win. Kirill Kaprizov, he's kind of like my Julius Randle. I'll ride him until the train falls off the rails. In terms of scoring a goal, he has scored a goal in 8 of his last 10 games, and he's given plus value, plus 102 to do so tonight. Look, Kirill, he's probably going to win the Calder Trophy, the best rookie in hockey, in my opinion. He's been the most effective rookie in hockey this year. 8 of 10 with a goal, take him. Take him at plus value anytime you can. I mean, when you see a guy like that, you think of people like Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews. These are guys that are scoring goals in 8 of 10 games. Typically, you are going to get their goal value at minus 110. So if you can get any of those caliber players at plus value to score a goal, we had Connor McDavid the other night at plus 110. That's insane. Take it. And I know Kirill is not a household name yet. He is not like if you walk up to someone on the street who doesn't follow hockey and you say, hey, do you know who Connor McDavid is? They'll say, yeah, I know who Connor McDavid is. Or they'll say, I don't think he plays hockey. You know, they might think about it, but might recognize the name. You walk up to someone who doesn't watch hockey and say, do you know who Kirill Kaprizov is? They might say, get away from me, weirdo. So, I think given time, his value will continue to dwindle. So jump on him while he has plus value. Hayden Fleury, he has scored a goal in 2 of 4 games for Anaheim. Insane value, plus 900 if you want to test the waters there. We hit a Drew Holiday plus 800 double-double prop bet the other night. So why not? For plus 900, throw a buck on it. You can win $9 for Hayden Fleury to score a goal tonight. He has done so in 2 of 4 games for Anaheim. All right, so we got three late-night games, and that'll be it. We'll wrap it up. We got Colorado and Los Angeles. The Avs, they have won 8 straight games when playing on a Friday. I don't see any real reason to take LA here, but again, I don't see any real reason to take Colorado at almost minus 300. That's just insane. Far too expensive. But Mikko Rantanen, one of the prolific goal scorers for the Colorado Avalanche, he has scored a goal in 5 of 6 games that he has played in. He's been in and out of the lineup, but he's in tonight. He's scored a goal in 5 of 6 games. He has odds to score a goal at plus 114. And then Trevor Moore, look at this. He has scored a goal in 3 of his last 5 games when the Kings are underdogs. He is given odds to score a goal at plus 575. Want to look at Trevor Moore to possibly score for the Kings. All right, quickly going through the last 2. We got the Blues and the Golden Knights. This is probably the game of the night, or at least one of the games of the night for NHL fans. You have the Golden Knights, who have won 7 straight home games after winning in overtime the game prior. We talk about this a lot on the show. Vegas, they do not drop back-to-backs often, if ever. So I'm not sure I would look into St. Louis, even though they have plus value as an underdog. I'm telling you, plus value in hockey is best in the goal prop department. Mark Stone has scored a goal in 3 straight games when playing inside T-Mobile Arena. He has odds to score a goal at plus 205. Sammy Blais has also scored a goal for St. Louis in 2 straight games when playing as the underdog. He has odds to score a goal at plus 450. And then finally, the last game tonight, you have Arizona and San Jose at 10:30. So you know what that means in hockey language. The puck actually won't drop till 10:37 or 10:45, just depending on how many awards they got to give out before the game, how many banners they have to hang up. But it's San Jose, so probably not many. Sorry. Took a shot at the Sharks fans there. Let's see. What do we got here? Let's see. Arizona, they've seen the underdog win 5 of 6 games. Man, I don't know here because the underdog has minus value, which is Arizona at minus 106. They are the slightly better team in my opinion, but I don't like betting on underdogs for minus value, so I don't know if I would buy into that trend for tonight. I like Phil Kessel's odds to score a goal. He's been one of the better scorers for Arizona this year. He has scored a goal in 6 or 7 games when facing the Sharks, so he has some historic success against this team. He has odds to score a goal at plus 167, but Thomas Hertl, he has scored a goal in 4 or 5 games for San Jose, silver lining for the Sharks right there, and he has odds to score a goal at 245, plus 245. So there's a lot of goal props to take advantage of tonight in hockey. You have a handful of games. There should be some good scoring, some good action there. But I think that's going to be it. Yeah, I want to remind you again to leave your best bet in the comment section of this video, not the live chat part of the video. That's going to disappear forever and ever. We want to see your pick an hour from now, 2 hours from now. Put your best bet in the comment box. Leave your Vegas ID name so we know how to look you up and contact you if you are selected. But your bet has to be correct. It has to be a winner, and you have to both like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. So you like the video, you subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave your best bet in the comment box along with your Vegas ID. And if your best bet is a winner, you will be possibly selected to win free picks for a week from the handicapper of your choice. We're not just going to give you some handicapper you don't want. we'll give you the golf handicapper, even though you don't follow golf, we'll let you choose. So want to be sure to check out all our content as well for Friday and the weekend. We'll go over that real quick. So we have some baseball tonight. We got the Rays and the Athletics. It's going to be a good one. Celtics, Bulls. Want to check that out. Betting is legal in Illinois, so all you Chicagoans out there definitely want to check that preview out. We have Nuggets, Jazz, Flyers, Caps, Blues. Good night, not Oscar Blues beer. Good night, but the Golden Knights. They are home tonight. Got best bets, and then real quickly for the weekend, if the stupid mouse would stop moving, we have UFC this weekend. That's tomorrow. Rodriguez-Waterson is the main event. There's been a very impromptu schedule. It's been audibles left and right for the lineup in UFC this weekend, but odds are set. The lineup is set for the main card and the prelims, so you want to check that out. Huge, absolutely huge boxing match this weekend. Canelo Alvarez is going to be taking on Billy Joe Saunders, who is very well known overseas in Europe. And Alvarez is just one of the biggest stars the sport has today. So we have odds on that fight. You definitely want to check that out. We have college football semifinals. It's not the playoffs that we want. It's the playoffs that we've got. It's the FCS semifinals. So 2 best bets there for this weekend, both games on Saturday. We got early odds for the Preakness Stakes. We've got French Open odds. We've got Indy 500 odds. Definitely want to check that out for the end of the month. A lot of big events going on for May 30th. And then we also have Great Dane Nation, episode 35 with Bill Murray. Definitely want to check that out. I wish we got Bill Murray for our Oscars preview we did a few weeks ago. We spent 71.5 hours watching movies in 2 weeks to do an Oscars preview, and now we get Bill Murray. It's just like, whatever. Speaking of which, though, we are tracking Oscar movies for 2022. What we learned from 2021 is the best strategy betting the Oscars is to do it when lines first drop. Because what happens is as soon as nominations are announced, people start watching those movies and then they start betting. So you want to have an idea of exactly who you would bet on for each category before the nominations come out. Because then when the nominations come out, that's when you're going to see the best value for those odds. And a great example is My Octopus Teacher. It opened at plus 125. It was on Netflix. Everybody loved it. And by the time I got through all my documentaries, I was ready to go place my 125 bet on My Octopus Teacher, and boom, it was minus 500. So if I had known ahead of time that it was my favorite documentary, I would have placed the bet. So yeah, that's just an example of why we're tracking these odds early. So definitely want to check that out as well. It doesn't stop here in the world of sports over here, the world of Vegas Insider. But that's going to do it for us here in the Daily Insider Vegas Insider YouTube channel studio. I'm Thom Cunningham. Go out there, make some good bets, make some money, and until next time, we'll see you.